What's going on YouTube? Jamiethekid00's here, sat in my horribly cold room because on the day that I decided to do my assignment, my heating packed up, so forgive the jacket. I'm feeling like a bit of a ramble at the moment, so I thought I'd just bring you guys kind of my Order of Chaos format in review, because I really don't have a format for the way I'm going to do this video, so it's just going to be me talking. So forgive me if I jump from point to point. But I'm going to take you straight back to just before the March finalists, say mid-February, when Shriek announced it and said, yeah, the fake's real. And everyone said, oh, you know, the Triad, or just, to be honest, Wind-Ups is going to win everything. They said the Insectors and Rabbit would be good, Wind-Ups would win everything. You're going to have to play Triple Maxi, Triple Veiler. Even I thought that. I thought that was going to be the case, and I stocked up on them because of it. And now we look at the format a couple of weeks from Galactic Overlord, which will completely reshape the format with the Hieratics and things like that, and the boost that they're going to give to Insectors, which should hopefully push them more consistently into the top 32 rather than these fluke occurrences, which has frankly shocked me because I thought they'd be better than that. And will most likely push Rabbit out of the bracket, because I think it's going to have a hard time competing with the more dragon-based decks that are doing the rounds. Anyway, we look at where we are now, and we think, what happened to Wind-Ups? Where did all of those tops go? Yeah, I will admit they came quite frequently on top tables, and they've been winning a lot of games, and they've been topping a lot of events. Regionals, maybe they've been winning. I haven't kept up on regionals. But they came first place in Swiss at one of our events. But they haven't won any events. They haven't come in first place. They haven't even come in second, I don't think. I think they topped forward at one point. Where'd all the fear go? This was meant to be, you know, the stupidly broken deck that everyone was really fearing, and then it kind of went to YCS Mexico and it topped a few times, and that was about it. Everyone went, oh, that was interesting. The same with Insectors, and you know, everyone was going, oh, the Hornet loop is so broken, and the card advantage it offers you. The first event they went to, I don't even know if they topped. Like, in a few other events, they didn't top at all, and then they topped a few times at like Long Beach and a few other YCSs, but they never won. And again, Dino Rabbit just kept on. I mean, Dino Rabbit didn't even top that much. It has always been consistently rogue decks because no one knows where the format is going, because everyone was afraid of the power, you know, the power 3. So everyone just went into their events concerned about the power 3 that Order of Chaos and supposedly broke the game. And then they went to these YCSs and just didn't remember all the other powerful decks that were still doing the rounds and will still catch you off guard. Because the trick is, you can side heavily for Wind-Ups and you can play your 3 maxis in the main, but if you don't play Wind-Ups, you're at a disadvantage and you're probably going to lose. And there's the trick. You've got to remember that when Wind-Ups came out, they were stupidly expensive. They were really hard to play. I tried playing them myself, and I will ultimately admit that because of my play style, I lost horribly with them and I never picked them up again. I still have them, but I doubt I will ever play them again because they're just so complicated. So there are very few players that use them. I will admit, those who play them well will top with them. You can see that consistently in the standings of past YCSs. I believe there were tops in Dallas and Toulouse. I'm not sure about both of them, but I know there were definitely tops with Wind-Ups. And if you check them, you can probably find on YouTube in the past that they have topped some other events, and they are good players. You can't just pick up those decks. So with that in mind, you've got to think that if I go into an event, a YCS, and think, oh no, I better play 10 cards in my side for Wind-Ups. You've got to think about the player demographic. Yes, if you start getting to round 8 and round 9 undefeated, things like that, you will end up having to play these high money decks like Rescue Rabbit, Wind-Ups. If you play it in round 1, well, that's just kind of dumb luck. Because if you think about the size of the player demographic, not everyone that goes to YCSs has the money to blow on decks like that. They're going to play the cheap options, Bubble Beat, Heroes, certain Dragon variants, Dark Worlds. They're all very cheap decks that you can build under £100 with the full bells and whistles and even some bling if you like it. Really cheap. And that was kind of the psychology going into events, and that was the mistakes I've made in the past. I've gone to other events and thought, power 3, side for the power 3, and then I was surprised and went, I spent all day playing Heroes, as you will have seen in my last tournament diary, when I was told that the Bristol locals would be of a higher tier than my own. I sided heavily for kind of higher tier decks. What happened? I didn't play a single wind-up match. I didn't play any Insectors. There was one wind-up deck there. There were 2 Insector decks. Everything else was Dragons, Heroes, Dark Worlds, and occasional Rogue decks. I was the only Rabbit player there, and I'd sided heavily for Rabbit. That's the format summarised right there. Because if you expect something, chances are it won't happen. Again, this is kind of meant to be a review of the format. So ultimately all I can say is the predictions of the format so far were completely wrong. Yes, the top 3 were the top 3. They were the most consistent tops. However, they didn't entirely dominate, and they weren't nearly as game-breaking as we thought. When we saw the ban list way back in March again, we thought it was ridiculous that they didn't ban anything, really. They hit plants, and that was about it. And I feel that hitting plants was a good thing, because it kind of shook people out of their ways, because Plants was a dying deck even when Rabbit was starting to take control, because Rabbit could easily be out against it. I don't really know the matchup too well because I never played my Rabbit deck in the Plant format, but I think it was a pretty good matchup. Now that Plants are gone, I feel it shifts players to either play Rogue or just play other competitive decks, because it just meant that you stopped playing the bad and really learned what was good in the new format. I didn't really think that statement through, so it was probably a load of bollocks when I proof watched this video. But yeah, back on topic, this format has been crazy, and I think it's going to continue to be crazy until October. I know in my mind I really like creative decks, I like all the rogue decks topping, but in my personal opinion I really don't like this current format because of the fact that there are so many variables, they're so hard to predict, and it's almost not worth siding going into some events because you just don't know what's going to happen. You could be lucky and play everything that you sided for and draw all the things you sided and wreck and go XO day 1, day 2, go on to the top 32 and win. You know, it's like when you look at the TG deck that won YCS Atlanta. It was the guy's first ever YCS, and he played no Maxis, no Veilers, he played skill drain TGs, and he had none of the hand traps. He had 1 warning, and it was just so unconventional. I know for a fact that it rocked the YouTubing world. Like, loads of people were surprised, saying, what happened here? How did this kid, did this kid sack the whole way through? And I don't think he did. I think he may have got sacky matchups where he just didn't need the hand traps, but at the same time, it was a good play because it left his deck general and made him able to play against any matchup that he came up against, unhindered by the main deck outs to things. If you play main deck against Rabbit, if you don't play Rabbit, you're at disadvantage against everything else, if you see what I mean. And as people have been commenting, main decking Maxi now is only really that good against wind-ups, because against Rabbit when they make a Lagia play, you're really just stopping yourself from minusing, because you're plus zeroing, you're zeroing yourself out, because you will spend those cards that you drew on outs to Lagia anyway. So if you see where I'm going with this, my format and review ultimately states that the format has been crazy. I want it to end ultimately. I'm looking forward to what Galactic Overlord does. Maybe another deck will take prescience, but for now I think I'm actually going to stop playing the meta so much, maybe kind of dabble with some tier 2 decks, because that's my advice to you guys. Going into events, don't play the expected, play the unexpected, because that is the trend that's been winning. In YCS Toulouse, Chaos Dragons came out and won. In YCS Dallas, Chaos Dragons came out and came second only to Dino Rabbit, and I don't know how that happened. I really needed to read the feature match coverage, but from what I heard, Rabbit got the nuts hand. I really think that should have been Chaos Dragon's game. So my advice to you guys on the format is play tier 2, really. I know that may seem counterproductive, and in a lot of records it will say tier 1 is still better. Tier 1 is better. Tier 1 will give you consistent tops, but may not take you all the way to the top, as more experienced players will be able to take you apart because they immediately know how to play against you, and they sided 5 odd cards and some main deck builds towards your deck. Whereas if you rock up with Chaos Dragons, they have no idea what's going on, because you can't really... There aren't that many generalizable cards out there, so there's going to be fewer cards that they side in against you, and therefore you will have more of an advantage. So I would play tier 2 and side for the meta, and side of course some occasional things that help you in your own mirror match if you have a bad mirror match, and side in for the occasional rogue decks that you just really know you're not going to be able to handle with your deck. And just see how it goes. Either way, guys, to round this off for one last time, the format has been great. It's been great fun. Some really cool explosive decks have really come into their own, and there have been some definite surprises, and I'm really happy to see them. And I'm genuinely enjoying testing all these different tier 2 decks that can shred tier 1 decks easily. and really deserve to be up there. So I really want to see more showing. I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of ramble on what's been happening for me and what I've viewed in the format. And I hope Galactic Overlord just brings us just as many surprises, and I hope it's not just going to be filled with hieratic OTKs, because that would just be boring as hell. So I'll see you guys soon with quite a few more kind of rogue deck profiles. I'm going to do maybe Dark World, I might do Dark World, probably going to do Chaos Dragons, Heroes, things like that. And maybe Inzectors when we go into Galactic Overlord, but I'll see how it goes. Either way, guys, let me know how your format has been and what surprised you down in the box below. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to my assignment and keep myself warm, because they haven't fixed the radiator yet. So, I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.